Okay, the live stream has started. So just a few things before we go on the record in the appeal of Miller. We want to make sure that everybody's phones are silenced and any laptops are also silenced. I understand that a mic check has already been done. Excuse me. I'm Judge Stanley, and this is the hearing for the appeal of Miller. We have a stenographer here, Ms. Alonzo, who is present and reporting the hearing verbatim. So to ensure that we have an accurate record, we ask everybody to avoid speaking over one another, to speak slowly and clearly and directly into the microphone so that you can get down every word. And after the hearing, Ms. Alonzo is going to produce a written transcript that'll be available on the Office of Tax Appeals website. Okay, Ms. Alonzo, are you ready to go on the record?
Yes,
and judges?
Yes.
Okay, we're going on the record in the appeal of Miller, Office of Tax Appeals, case number 230513393. The date is March 11th, and the time is 12:55 p.m. I'm Judge Stanley, and I'll be the lead for purposes of conducting the hearing, but my co-panelists, Judge Aldrich and Judge Kim, will be equal participants in deciding the case. So we will meet after the hearing and deliberate and determine the outcome of the appeal. Just as a reminder, we are not, the Office of Tax Appeals is not a court. We're an independent appeals body staffed by our own subject matter experts, and we are independent of any of the other state tax agencies. We don't have anything to do with the Franchise Tax Board, for example, other than what we're doing right now. You know, we deal with them through the appeals process. I'm going to ask the parties to identify themselves, starting with Mr. Miller.
I am Mr. Miller.
Okay, and Franchise Tax Board.
Andrea Watkins with Franchise Tax Board. Jackie Zumaida with Franchise Tax Board.
Okay, I wanted to go over the issues, and Mr. Miller, before I go into the issue, I do realize that your main issue is that you believe the amount that you owe has already been paid. So when I ask for your agreement, you don't have to restate that part of it. What I understand the issues from our perspective is whether or not you established that the Franchise Tax Board made an error in disallowing deductions for repairs or improvements to your residence, and whether you are able to offset any disallowed deductions by the home office deduction that you didn't claim in 2016. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Watkins, do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, and I also want to state a couple of things that the parties don't dispute. Appellants do not dispute the addition of deferred gain on the sale of a home acquired in 2007 in a 1031 exchange for a house that was sold in 2016. They also do not separately contest the accuracy-related penalty. That's correct still, Mr. Miller?
Your Honor, I'm not disputing anything that I owed, just like I didn't dispute it for the IRS. I think I paid it.
Right, right. I think we all understand that position, and I'll let you talk more about that when you get to your presentation. But we also, at the pre-hearing conference, had some stipulations that the IRS assessed additional tax and inaccuracy-related penalty on appellant's 2016 tax account. On June 24th, 2019, we also have an agreement that the additional tax and penalty assessed on appellant's 2016 federal tax account has not been abated or reduced by the IRS. And I know, Mr. Miller, you've already stated that you're not disputing that either, what the IRS did.
I attempted to dispute it, but they wouldn't let me.
Okay,
Well, it didn't work out, let's put it that way.
okay. And that the Franchise Tax Board agrees to abate interest from May 6, 2021 through February 24th, 2023, which totals $993.53. And that is because the Franchise Tax Board did not send appellants the May 6, 2021 position letter until February 24th, 2023. So that's why that interest will be abated. Is that correct, Ms. Watkins?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Well, let's get to exhibits then. Appellant submitted exhibits 1 through 23. And the Franchise Tax Board did not object to the admissibility, so those exhibits are admitted into evidence. The Franchise Tax Board submitted exhibits A through K, and appellants did not object to the admissibility of these exhibits, and they are admitted into evidence. And just one note for our stenographer. I am saying appellants, plural, because Ms. Miller is also an appellant in this case. So even though we see Mr. Miller, I'm not calling him appellant. And Mr. Miller is going to be the only witness for the appellants. Franchise Tax Board does not intend to call any witnesses. Is that still correct, Ms. Watkins?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, Mr. Miller, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You asked for 30 minutes for your presentation, so you may proceed when you're ready.
All right, I sent via email notes to this case that I plan to read. And what it is where to find all the rest of the material that has already been sent as evidence. Okay? And this went to evidence OTA, Andreas Rios and Nia, for you, Judge Stanley, and Ms. Watkins, and Cynthia Kent. Are you Kent?
I'm not.
Okay, that's fair enough. Anyway, this has theoretically been sent to you. This is not new evidence. The appellant accepted both the IRS decision under protest and the California FTB tax and has paid both. Using already evidence sent, it should be at least acknowledged that California EDD accepted my $17,500 CARES Act money solicited on my behalf from the U.S. government. And that refers to page 67. And did not distribute the funds to me or 33,000 other California residents. This total is in the range of $450 million missing dollars. This comes from Steve Lopez of the LA Times. In addition, it is estimated that between $55 and $114 billion additional dollars are missing. Copies available, or California, just Google California lost EDD money. It is well documented. See exhibits sheets A through L, and it is speculated that when after 2 years of trying, this is speculated, you can help me out on this, the Franchise Tax Board and then the OTA could not collect the funds from EDD, and they returned to me for collection. If OTA cannot collect the California funds held for me by EDD, I can't collect them. I believe other people have tried to collect it, and that's what the 2 years were between the time that I sent in both my check for $10,000 and the $15,000 that ED owed me, and that's where I thought we had paid. All right. Can the judges cancel out the money owed? This is a California problem, not mine. I realize you're not going to get the money from EDD. Nobody can. If you can cancel out, thank you. California can keep my $10,000 already paid to the the Franchise Tax Board. If my estimated time of 1,000 hours of correspondence is calculated, at my last consultation rate, then I'm behind about $250,000, while all the government employees have been getting paid. I returned all asked for correspondence in 1 or 2 days. Then it took months for the federal, for the tax board or the OTA to return any correspondence. I do believe I should not be charged for interest on the return wait time and should be getting interest paid on my $10,000. Since this was written last week, I received another input and from Ms. Watkins, and it does show it on a credit. The tax money owed was paid using the owed ED money and was accepted by OTA, and a refund check sent by OTA, actually that'd be Federal Tax Board, with the tax year clearly noted. See the check, and that is on page 23. I also have, if you desire, some of my notes here if you want to follow along. Would you like to?
That's okay. You can
Okay.
just continue with your presentation, but you can rest assured that we've all read the whole file and everything that you've sent in. The
Okay.
judges have all read that, so just so that you know that.
Good, thank you. It's also, so page 23 in here, and also page 67. So proof that it was received, a check was sent to me, paid off on a refund check, and then we waited 2 years. California EDD CARES Act money was a fraud. California made arrangements to pay me the $15,000. Turns out that's $17,550. I had to go back over my notes, but never did. In response to Judge Stanley's suggestion to contact the EDD fraud line that I had previously contacted the first time, indicated that the day before my first check was sent, my address to where to send the check was changed. My file was still under the real address. Again, it is believed that 33,000 Californians had the same problem. On my second phone call, California EDD fraud line agreed to fix the send to address but never did. Cal EDD refused to give me my new check address. I said, where'd you send my check? We can't tell you. While still referencing my original account. They had my account, and they saw where to send the checks had been changed. When the checks that were agreed to fix still didn't arrive, EDD fraud was again contacted with my correct address noted. They found my file. However, the phone operator indicated he could not open my file unless I knew my new address the checks were sent to. My phone call to EDD last month, and on the side I looked up EDD, and the one with the most stars for satisfaction was actually close to me down at the beach. And the operator said he never heard of any lost funds. Period. All right. The failure, Oceanside. It was the Oceanside office. Failure of the IRS to recognize the money spent for safety improvements has already been documented. And this is pages 43 through 55. The not used office in the House for 2016 has already been documented. Page 56 through 108. The IRS contention that the improvements would raise the house price is wrong, and the documents are on page 49 through 453 with photos. Thank you. Looking forward to being here today.
I have a follow-up question. You mentioned that you don't think you should be charged interest. What, were you talking about a time period other than what the Franchise Tax Board has already agreed to?
Yeah, I believe that I paid the entire amount, but I used the EDD funds, which California had of mine. And I received a refund check for that year, and it's in here, plus it's in the little notes that I have. And then we went for 2 years. I was happy. And then the Franchise Tax Board came back and said, we're not going to count it. So I believe, this is conjecture, I believe that they tried to get the money from EDD, just like I did, and 2 years later they gave up.
Okay, so I think I understand what you're saying now. You're talking about the 2-year period before the IRS made an adjustment.
Well, the IRS never made any adjustments. When the IRS made the adjustments, and then there was a 2-year period until California, I thought it was going to be automatic, but California then came back and said, you owe us the money. And I agreed, and I paid it.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Watkins. Do you have any questions for Mr. Miller?
No, I don't have any questions.
And Judge Aldrich, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Judge Kim?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, and I don't have any additional follow-up questions at this time either, so we'll turn to the Franchise Tax Board. And Ms. Watkins, you asked for 10 minutes for your presentation, and you may proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Watkins, and I represent the Respondent Franchise Tax Board, along with my co-counsel, Jackie Zumaida. There are 2 issues on appeal. 1, whether the appellants have met their burden of proof to establish error in FTB's 2016 proposed assessment of additional tax, and 2, whether the appellants have established a basis to abate the accuracy-related penalty, both which are based on federal action. Appellants do not contest the accuracy-related penalty, so I will only address the first issue. The law provides that a proposed assessment based on federal action is presumed correct, and the taxpayer bears the burden of proving error. In this case, the IRS reviewed the appellant's 2016 federal return and assessed additional tax and penalty based on unreported dividend income and adjustments to appellant's federal Schedules C, D, and E income and deductions. Per the most recent federal account transcript, there has been a final federal determination, and no tax has been subsequently abated by the IRS. FTB followed the federal assessment to the extent allowable under California law, resulting in a proposed assessment of additional California tax of $19,611 and an accuracy-related penalty of $3,922.20. Appellants argue that they have paid the proposed assessment in full. They claim that they are entitled to funds from the Employment Development Department, which they never received. And they believe that the purported missing EDD funds should be used to help satisfy their additional California tax. However, FTB and the EDD are 2 separate state agencies, and any potential claim that appellants believe they have regarding EDD funds is not applicable to this tax appeal. FTB is in receipt of a partial payment from appellants in the amount of $10,661.90, which is currently being held in suspense pending the outcome of this appeal. And to be clear, in response to the appellant's presentation, FTB has not tried to collect any EDD funds. Appellants also argue that $41,365 of repairs to their personal residence should be tax deductible. However, these home remodeling costs are a personal expense and are not tax deductible. Therefore, the IRS and FTB properly disallowed the claim deduction. In addition, appellants claim that they are entitled to a business use of home deduction, although they did not claim it on their original tax return. They would now like to claim a home office deduction to offset their additional California tax. They would like FTB to apply an average home office deduction based on amounts they claimed in previous and subsequent tax years. In order for such a deduction to be allowed, the appellants are required to provide evidence of the expense, as deductions are a matter of legislative grace, and the taxpayer who claims a deduction has the burden of proving they're entitled to it. Appellants have not provided a Schedule 8829 or other documentation to establish their entitlement to such a deduction, nor were they allowed a home office deduction at the federal level. Appellants have not met their burden of proof to establish error in FTB's proposed assessment, nor the federal assessment on which it is based. Therefore, I respectfully request that FTB's proposed assessment be affirmed. I'm happy to answer any questions from the panel. Thank you.
Judge Aldridge, do you have any questions for the Franchise Tax Board?
No questions, thank you.
And Judge Kim, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, and I don't have any questions either, so we'll turn back to you, Mr. Miller, and you can have the final say. You can rebut anything that Ms. Watkins said, or just conclude, just make a
All
final
right.
statement.
In the notes that have been sent previously, one piece in there is my appeal to the IRS, and the individual that I trusted that did my IRS audit that I sent it to was no longer available. Instead, they sent me a 1040X, which was impossible to fill out just because there were so many items in Ms. Chin's input. And 2016, that was the year we moved. And so there are two separate sets of houses. But it turns out that when I'm asking for the home deduction, which I did not use because I didn't need it, because one of the reasons I was audited is I had zero income that year. And so big red flag, and they audited me. And so 1040X is what in the audit did you not like? Well, there was lots of in the audit. In addition, you will find that after Ms. Chin said that the house value would go up by the amount of money that we spent for safety reasons, and we have pictures in there. I mean, the house was unsafe when we moved in. And all the photos are in there and everything else. So I am asking that be reinstated. All right? I couldn't do it at the IRS level because there was no means for me to appeal it that worked. The 1040X, I couldn't figure out a way to fill it out. Now, I paid it. Then when I got your inputs, I paid it. And then we went 2 years, everybody was happy, right? And then all of a sudden they changed their minds. One of the inputs here that Ms. Watkins sent here about a week or so ago was the account transcript for the Internal Revenue Service indicating that I owed nothing for that year. It was paid, just like I paid the California. Her second input here, which is K, they have listed down the interest and the one payment of $10,000. My question is, if you took for 2 years the $15,000, where is it? Nowhere on here does it have the refund check that I was sent back for that year. And it's both here, the handout that I have, and of course it's in the documents. Where is that? There should be credits and debits for all that. It appears that the Franchise Tax Board is just ignoring the fact that they had for 2 years the $15,000. So for 2 years, I thought it was paid. And then when they couldn't collect the money, I believe, and this is conjecture, from EDD, they just came back and said, okay, you have to pay it because we can't get it. No one's going to get any money from EDD. It's gone. I think it was fraud. I think that covers it. I'm up to the panel here to go through the evidence and recognize that I was frauded, and California has $17,000 of my money. I only use 15. So in my mind, you should send me a check for $2,000.
Okay, that concludes your presentation.
That's good enough. I wish you luck in going through the years of correspondence we've had.
Oh, I can guarantee you, we've all been through everything that you've sent us. We've all read through it already. But we'll probably go back through it while we're deliberating, so I think we have your story down now.
Well, on our conference call that we had, you indicated I should have contacted EDD fraud. I did.
And Judge Stanley, to the extent that the opinion should come out in this case and it would not be in Mr. Miller's favor, we would be happy to discuss the option of how to file a government claim if he believes that there's an issue with the Employment Development Department's payment.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, and that was tried. You'll find it in here.
I think Ms. Zumeta is offering that the Franchise Tax Board can help you maybe get somewhere with EDD. So what she's saying is if the opinion doesn't come out in your favor, that you should contact someone from her office and they'll help
I
take you
certainly,
through the program.
I
through the
certainly
process.
appreciate that.
Okay. And I can footnote that in the opinion too,
Okay.
so that,
There was her name was Jenny, from the free advice thing, and she had all of the inputs, and she said she couldn't help me. So there's been another avenue that was tried. Compliments of the Franchise Tax Board.
and I'll ask you when we're not on live stream, what kind of contact information Mr. Miller would need for that. Judge Aldrich, do you have any final questions?
I do not, thank you.
Okay, and Judge Kim, do you have final questions? No. No?
I have a final question.
Okay.
Can you eliminate what I owe? Can this board have the power to eliminate what I owe?
Well, we'll have to get together after this. We have to review all the evidence, and then, we will, that's going to be my next thing, that we're closing the record now, but we do have a record. We have everything that you gave us, and we have everything that the Franchise Tax Board gave us, and we'll get together after the hearing, and we'll deliberate, and we'll reach a conclusion on the issues that you've raised, and then we'll issue a written opinion within 100 days. So the record is closed, and today's hearing in the appeal of Miller is now concluded. The next hearing nope, there is no next hearing today. So we're adjourned for the day. So thank you for coming and participating, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Get out of here before the rain hits. All right,
Thank you.
all of us.